And welcome everybody to another glorious episode of the Put On Waivers Podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful morning out here, quiet, crisp. I had an incident with a coyote the other day. We'll talk about that, along with other things on the Put On Waivers Podcast. I'm here with James Amato. James, how you doing today?
Doing good. We got the cool mornings and evenings, and then the really hot days. So it's still get to the beach, which I enjoy a lot. So we'll continue to do that. But yeah, things are good.
Yeah, if you follow James on Instagram, you would never know he likes the beach. As far as that goes. 858-299-5592 is the text line. Thank you for listening to the show and watching the show on YouTube from Chicago, New York, one of James's favorite cities, Miami, Florida, and Sacramento, California. Let's see here, and Instagram, Twitter is RTPOW podcast, and James is JR_Amato 824. All right, so let's just roll into the baseball here now. The Yankees have basically, so they went out on the 13. Everybody's pounding their chest. They finally realized that our guy, Giancarlo Stanton, is a baseball player, not just a DH, right? So they put him in the outfield. He gets hot. Judge gets hot. They end up winning some games, all the things like that. And now that they're 2-9 after they win 13 games in a row, James, they've literally pretty much given away the entire 13-game winning streak in this time period. What are your thoughts about the Yankees going forward right now? Because they just don't seem to have. I mean, they're not a complete team, and it shows every day.
The amazing thing about, during that 13-game winning streak, the Yankees only gained one game, on Tampa Bay during that time. It was either one or two. They didn't gain much, to come off the 13 wins. Stanton's been incredible. Had that amazing play in the outfield, that diving catch. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that.
But yeah, the bullpen's just not there. And they just don't look good right now. Probably your best reliever's out in Loaizaga. They lost him for the season. Gallo's just not hitting at all. He's had a couple of big hits, but he's just been horrendous. And they're tied into him next year.
Yeah, forget about the Mendoza line. He's under 100, isn't he?
He's under the Sanchez line.
Sanchez line. Oh, Yankee fans love us. Yankee fans love us. I tell you, that's a good one though. I like that one. But yeah, they're just really struggling in every way. I just don't. It's funny because somebody asked me the difference between my team, the Giants, and the Yankees. This just this year. And I said, you know what? When you're a Yankee fan, and you saw it when they went to Anaheim to face the Angels, and a lot of Yankee fans were there pounding their chest because if the Yankees are at one of any of the California teams, the Yankee fans come out of the woodwork like crazy. But I can, like, the last two nights, the Giants are playing two teams. They're playing the Rockies. They go up like 6 or 7 runs. I can go to bed without watching the rest of the game because I know they're going to close it out. With the Yankees, didn't they have like a 7-0 lead in one of those games against the Angels? Like you cannot turn the game off because you can't trust that bullpen. You can't trust that pitching
Not
staff.
even Chapman. Chapman is just a shell of himself. And again, he hasn't been the same since he had that mysterious illness. And then the other thing too is, Tampa Bay did what the Yankees did for so long. Tampa Bay finished 18-1 against Baltimore, and the Yankees have a losing record to Baltimore, and that's the difference in your division right there.
And what do you do? I know he's a young player, and it's interesting to see. Are we with Gleyber Torres? Is Gleyber Torres the guy who just is a Baltimore Oriole killer, and that's all his game is? It kind of seems that way right now. I don't know. I don't know. Do you trust
New York?
Do you trust him at all, Gleyber Torres?
No, not at all. Like I said, he just seems psychologically down in New York. He, his fielding skills have diminished.
Yes.
And that's usually a sign. When the hitting's out there and the fielding's out there, there's something going on. And you would definitely have to consider him as trade bait, especially with all the shortstops coming up on the free agent market this year.
I know you can almost see the Yankees going to get Baez. It was a free agent.
Well, the thing with Baez, I was hoping the Mets would resign Baez. I'd love to see Baez and Lindor play together. But after this year, the Mets are committed to 2 more years to Robinson Cano.
Oh my God.
Who's back because his suspension ends this year. So, do you just walk away from Cano? And I mean, obviously Cohen can afford it and sign Baez, but there's a lot of money tied up in Cano.
I did not. Boy,
I totally forgot about him until this morning, listening to Sal Licata on the Fan. They're talking about Robinson Cano coming back, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's right." They still have Robinson Cano.
It's crazy. The baseball has those contracts where you end up forgetting about it because they're so awful. They're just awful contracts, and thank God. The Chris Davis retired now, right? He's done with the Orioles.
Talking about these Major League Baseball contracts, and I forget what NFL player it was. They were like, "Hey, take a pay cut, or we're going to cut you." And he said no to the pay cuts. They just cut him, and now they're free from that money. And it's just amazing how you can walk away from players in the NFL, who don't want to take a pay cut. I mean, now you went from taking a pay cut to getting nothing.
That is amazing. That is amazing how that happens. It's the difference in the sports. Difference in the player associations is it's mind-boggling as far as that goes. You're looking at the wild card now in the American.
Sorry,
go ahead. You're going to
realize we're talking about a 100-man roster basically versus a 40-man roster, and that's that plays into the contracts. But still, how you could just walk away from money in the NFL is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the Raiders just got KJ Wright, who was one of the best linebackers in football. And they were able to kind of walk away from that because the draft is used as a replacement for the veteran players in the National Football League. So as soon as that young player shows any kind of credence whatsoever, they get rid of the all pro who's been there for 6-7 years as far as that goes. Do you trust the Yankees are 2-8 in their last 10 games. The Red Sox are 4-6. A team that we like a lot. All the players who we grew up watching, their sons play on the Blue Jays. I'm not sure how that worked out in the draft, but they just said, hey, you know what? Why not? why not get the BGOs, get the Guerreros, people like that. What are your thoughts about the Blue Jays who are they're 6 games in a row, and they're 9 in their last 10. I'm always careful. Like I always say, hey, what do you do after the winning streak's over? You see what the Yankees have done after the winning streak's over, but they have Ryu, they have Mats, they have some really good pitchers on this team to go along with the stellar offense they have. The thoughts about the Blue Jays, because I would love to kind of see a Blue Jays Yankees or a Blue Jays Red Sox opposed to seeing Red Sox and Yankees again.
Yeah, I like what the Blue Jays are doing, and of course bringing in Springer with his postseason background and veteran leadership was such a good move for them. But yeah, I have confidence in them. Let's see what they could push over the next 3 weeks of the season. They're 2.5 games behind the Yankees for that spot, charging fast on the Yankees. So they're there, and let's see if they can sustain it. I mean, it's. It's just going to be like the Royal team that we watch, just miss the playoffs and then just explode next year and win 100 games. Are they at that point? That's what we're looking at with this team. But yeah, they're exciting to watch. They're fun to watch. Vlad Jr. is one of my favorite players to watch, and I could take them serious, and I think the Yankees should take them serious, obviously.
Yeah, I think the team is talented. The team is really talented. So we have to see if they were able to kind of hang on there. I went to the Astros Padres game, and I again there are a lot of really good ballparks. I've not visited every single ballpark. I've been to like 6 or 7 ballparks. In America, Major League Baseball ballparks, and I can tell you, man, the time you can have at Petco is just amazing. Especially if you have kids, like it is one of the best ballparks ever. You can just buy the $20 tickets and just sit on the lawn and just, they have a huge big screen TV. You can watch that game. Pretty cool place to watch a game. But the Padres, obviously, they have a lot invested in this season. They are desperately trying to make the playoffs. They are right now one game, I would say one game ahead because they're one game in the loss column, less than the Reds. But hopefully they get it together and are able to make the playoffs for the area where I live in. But let's go back to this weekend: Giants, Dodgers. I mean, the electricity in Oracle Park was amazing. The Giants take 2 out of 3. They have continuously. I know I'm a Giant fan, but all year there's been people who there's been folks who doubt them. They say, wait till they play the Padres, wait till play the Dodgers. They play the Dodgers 19 times, have a winning record against them. They played the Brewers tough. They pretty much played everybody tough, and they still are what? I don't know. What's their record? 89 and 50. Like, I mean, they're almost 40 games over 500. The Giants Dodgers series was pretty special because now whatever happens, James, this could be an opportunity for baseball to have the Giants play the Dodgers in a 7-game series, and you can't get better than that.
No, that would be really exciting to see that. I mean, I think it would be the first postseason matchup since the Bobby Thompson home run, right?
Yeah, because they've never. I mean, they have never played in the. I mean, the wild card is fairly. If you look at the history of baseball, it's fairly new. I mean, as far as that, that's fairly new.
28 years.
28 years
out of 100 years.
Exactly.
Right?
So you're saying to yourself, this is a team where, I mean, to have them in the playoffs would be pretty nuts. That would be this for. I mean, and then have the Padres in the playoffs as well as a possible wild card. Maybe a spoiler. Maybe the Padres win the wild card, but. Listen, the both teams are not. They're not budging. The Giants blew out the Rockies this year, last 2 nights, and then they keep pace with them. The Dodgers did the same thing to the Cardinals, and boy, I tell you, hats off to you because you saw that Cardinals thing right from the start. You did not like that Cardinals team at all, and you spoke about it all year. They have not played well. And they're not anywhere near a playoff spot as far as that goes. Do you favor the Giants or Dodgers? Either or. Do you think it's just a Giant year? They've answered all the calls. They might win a close division title. Or you think that at some point the Dodgers will take over?
With you, I mean that's how good of baseball they're playing. And how about Pujols last night, homering in his first at bat of the season in the Dodger uniform at St. Louis? I know he's been back there before with the Angels, but this is his first time, with the Dodgers. And 2 pitches after a standing ovation, hits one out. But yeah, they're playing great baseball. And I remember you had to bet that at any point the Giants would be in first place after May 1st, and here we are after September 1st. They're still in first place. So. They're playing amazing baseball, and they're going toe to toe with the Dodgers. And there were some exciting highlights from this past weekend with the Dodgers and Giants. And that's one series, that, you have to put Yankees and Red Sox aside when it comes to that. The Giants Dodgers series rivalry has just been amazing. I go back to remembering when Joe Morgan hit a home run for the Giants to knock the Dodgers out of the playoffs contention. I think it was 82. Yeah. And just how crazy that was with that year. And that's the first I when I was younger, I knew about the rivalry, reading about it from the New York perspective, Brooklyn versus New York Giants. But to actually see it and how the fans in San Francisco went crazy that day, it's just one you enjoy watching over the years. And unfortunately, other than the last 10 years, the Giants were on the shorter end of the stick when it came to the matchups with the Dodgers. But it's could be a very exciting postseason if we get an NLCS between these two teams.
And it's also and then in '93, the Dodgers unfortunately returned the favor. Giants. That was the year the Fred McGriff trade, where the Giants won 103 games. Imagine that. 103 games
103 games.
and winning that many games and not making the playoffs. That's how baseball used to be. So, and for those young folks, be happy they got a wild card.
Yeah, I forget who did it. Someone did it a few years ago. Yeah, someone did it a few years ago where they went back over like the 20 years prior to the wild card and reworked the divisions and matchups and the amount of teams that you saw missing the playoffs, like 90-win teams not making the playoffs, 95-win teams not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was just incredible to see like these teams all of a sudden in the playoffs. But yeah, that was a crazy year.
Yeah. So you're already hearing, and then listen, I'm not saying that I have a echo, but you're already hearing the rumblings now that their one Mr. Bruce Bochy wants to come back. He wants to come back. And I think the success, when you look at the White Sox, and listen, the White Sox could have maybe, the White Sox success will be determined by what they do in the playoffs, right? All right, because they were the favorite to win the division anyway. They were already a good team, so I'm not gonna sweat what they do. I mean, like I'm not gonna poo-poo and say Antonio La Russa hasn't done anything. He wasn't met with open arms, but they're winning baseball games. They're playing well. I give them credit. But there are some squads, and I think there's gonna be some, especially out in San Diego. There's going to be some pressure, no matter what, no matter how the Padres season ends, to bring back Bruce Bochy. So like that's going to be interesting to see what team he might want to go to. It seems like after this little time off, the Giants are still kind of reaping the benefits of some of the players that he had, but they're using their analytic style of doing it. They were able to beat the Dodgers when they in a 3-game series where they had to do 2 bullpen games. I mean, when they have to make moves, they made moves. The Giants have done a good job. They're more of a computer-based team now and leg team. But James, Bochy's coming back, and I think that's gonna be interesting to see would some of these big teams, kind of shy away from the analytics and then go out there and get a big-time manager.
Yeah, and with Steve Cohen in the mix now, you'd have to wonder if he wants to bring in a veteran manager in New York. I mean, obviously what happened last week with the DUI and everything. I just think that whole front office with the Mets needs a whole overhaul. And there's sometimes you're reading that he's going to go after Theo with an open checkbook to come run the organization in New York, which would be interesting. But if Theo's not up for going into New York or wanting to come back yet, you definitely, you'd have to put Bochy as a candidate for the Mets. Rojas just doesn't seem confident in there, and yeah, again, he was thrown into the mix with the whole Beltran thing. But I think even Met fans will agree, like they don't want another first chance manager. They want someone with experience in that role.
No, I mean, listen, it doesn't always pan out. I mean, look at La Russa in Chicago. Then you also come back and look at Philly and say, I mean, I thought Girardi was perfect for that city. But they have been. I mean, they're 2.5 games back. They could win the division, but they're still only 4 games over. So, and their run differential is minus 12. So we'll have to see what happens as far as that goes. Milwaukee just keeps going. I mean, Milwaukee is just. That bullpen is just amazing. So if you have about 6.5 innings to get to the Brewers, and if you can't get to the Brewers in during that time period, when they start bringing in Williams and Hader, forget about it. I mean, the changeup that Williams has is just, I mean, it's almost the equivalent of the cutter that Mariano Rivera has. I watched that guy.
I mean, between the Brewers, Giants, and Dodgers, like I just don't see the American League winning the World Series this year. I don't.
Look at the American League winning this World Series this year. I'm looking at the teams. I would say I would agree with you. I would just say the one thing that the Rays are kind of like the Rays are just the Rays. They're just a town. They're just a sick team. They're always good. I mean, they just always come out big. They continue to whip up on the beat up on the Yankees, beat up on the Red Sox. And it's amazing to me that like none of these other organizations, these especially the Red Sox, Yankees, kind of try to follow the model. I mean, they have the Rays have easily been the most, you know, consistently, consistently really good team in the American League, and also all of the in American League East. They pretty much dominated this division for years, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. I just after last year's debacle with the pitching staff and going by the analytic book and not the book and your gut feeling,
And the World Series, yeah.
I just don't see it.
We'll see. I mean,
especially the way those teams are playing. The Giants and the Brewers.
Yeah, I mean, they are. I mean, Giants, Brewers, Dodgers are playing really good baseball as far as that goes. Can I just in this section?
Years they've won enough championships in the last 3 years. So
yeah, who are you talking about?
The city of Tampa Bay. They don't need any more championships.
They really don't. So they had this big section in Petco of like great athletes who are like almost like a San Diego based sports Hall of Fame. And you want to talk about I as a Raider fan, it drove me crazy. So I'm looking at they had a picture of Marcus Allen, San Diego born, and they show a picture of him, and you can see the Chiefs little thing underneath his shirt. Okay. And then you see in the background the SC the Trojans, whatever, and you don't even see anything from the Raiders there. And I think that's hilarious. I was sitting there and I was like, wow, that's some hate right there, boy. I can't hear. Say it one more time. I can't hear.
That's a very good troll.
That is a troll. I mean, I gotta give San Diego props for that one. To sit there and not have Marcus Allen, Super Bowl champion, probably one of the most iconic runs in the history of the Super Bowl, and then he's not. You have no pictures of him. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. As far as that was, I mean, that's a serious troll on the Raiders. Let me see if I can find that picture. If I can find that picture, but it was hilarious. So here it is, right here. I'm gonna try to pop it up and see if I can show you. Because that thing had me dying when I saw that. I was like, this is unbelievable that they're doing that. Let me see. Let's see. Share my screen. I cannot believe they did that. Open up. Share screen. Here we go. Can you see that? Where is the Raider stuff here? Did he play for the Raiders?
That's
that's
the perfect troll. It really is.
San Diego is just man, I get your props for that. I get your props for that one. Let's see here. Anything else from MLB as far as the pennant races go? I mean, I do. I mean, listen. I mean, Dodgers, Giants will be battling it out all year. Wild cards are up for grabs, which is something the league really wants. I don't know if I favor any of. I don't favor either the Reds or the Padres in the National League. I just feel like they're just two evenly matched teams. They got to take advantage of what they have to do as far as that goes. And I think it's interesting to see that what heads roll as far as managerial situations. Yeah, the Mets went 8-2. The Mets here, the whole thing with what happened with Baez now? Baez, and they kind of they didn't want to get booed by the fans.
They didn't like getting booed, so they were doing thumbs down to each other, like booing the fans back when the fans booed them, and Baez came out and said it. I think it's definitely blown out of proportion. But that's Met fans being Met fans and being overly sensitive, and the New York media just grasping onto something. It's over and done with. Baez is a good player. Lindor's a good player. Lindor's going to bust out. He seems to be busting out.
Yeah.
At the right time. If you want a player to bust out of a slump, September is the best time.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there, but obviously, DeGrom, as is Met fashion, a week before he's supposed to come off the DL, announced that he was hurt more than they actually indicated. So we'll see what happens with the Mets. And how about Major League Baseball having their Hall of Fame induction ceremonies today?
It's today.
It's today.
Why today?
A lot of New Yorkers must have called out sick to go see Jeter get put in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, having it today. So today is Thursday, right?
Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesday. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of weird. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I would kind of do it on a day where it's not, it's not going to be
like a Saturday or Sunday.
Saturday or Sunday, where you can kind of.
I think because of COVID. I think because of COVID too, they had to do it just to kind of keep fans away.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's true. I guess as far as that goes.
Yeah. So make it less. They're not keeping fans. Fans can still go, but it's less of an opportunity for people to go.
Yeah,
it wouldn't draw the crowds that it would have normally draw with Jeter being in there.
Yeah, makes sense. So we had all the Major League Baseball stuff going on. Nothing really in the NBA. So I don't want to go crazy with that stuff. And the NBA is far away. I did see the new Marvel film. Did you get a chance to see it yet?
Yet.
You haven't seen it?
No, I was supposed to go Sunday night, but plans changed.
Okay, that's fine. So I just give my review of it, and I try not to influence anybody on their reviews, but I would say that nobody can introduce a character into the universe like Marvel. I mean, they just do a great job. They do a fantastic job. It was a great film. Just the characters in it, the little bit of humor they always put in there. Obviously, great job with them, and it was fun to see. And now it gets you even more excited for the Eternals. Gets you more excited for Phase 4. They dipped into a little bit of I won't give away the end credit. I'll let that slide. There's a couple. So stay.
It's all over the internet.
Yeah, but yeah, that's fine. But stay through the end credits if you do. As far as that, they got double on there too. So make sure you watch that. But yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens with the rest of Phase 4. But it was fun. It was definitely a fun movie to watch. But one of the best Marvel movies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, really good as far as that goes. Anything else going on?
The stretch run. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Trigon, did you say?
Yeah, nothing else has been going on. There's a great documentary on Netflix on the Danbury Trashers hockey team. Check that out. It's an amazing story about this very low level minor league hockey team that played Danbury, and the mob was involved in it. So check that out.
The tentacles and everything, the mob, huh?
Yes. Yes. It's a really interesting documentary. And that's about it. Still enjoying as much of this weather as I can, like I said.
Yeah, it's crazy. Put on Waivers Podcast. Put on Raiders Podcast. Put on Waivers and NFL show with myself and Ryan Holmes. We have that going on. So a lot going on. Football starts tomorrow. Anything you want to say about the passing of a Patriot here?
Yeah, Sam Bam Cunningham passed away. Actually, two Patriots passed away in the last week. One tragically. I mean, they're both tragic. But if you're a constant follower or listener of the show, I've been a Patriot fan since 1978, and Sam Cunningham was the running back of that team. He was this big bruising running back from USC. Randall Cunningham's uncle on top of it. So just an amazing football player. And it's those parts of your youth that occur, and you think about it and just see the photos of him on the news and on the internet. It just brought back a lot of good memories, but it was just one of those sad days. Still the Patriots all-time leading running back, for rushing yards. Yeah. Crazy as that sounds.
I see that too. Yeah. And also From the acting world, I'm a big. I just started rewatching The Wire, which is kind of crazy. But Michael K. Williams passed away as well too, so that was kind of a shocker as well. You got to kind of. I was kind of waiting to hopefully it wasn't necessarily true, but it was. And he was one of my favorites. And he had one of the most iconic characters in TV history as far as that goes. So all right.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, man. James, I will see you next time. Thank you for joining us here. Take care.
No technical difficulties next week.
Yeah, no, seriously. I thought in the early morning it'd be good to go, but I guess not.
All right. See ya.
See ya.